Alright, I know it's been a little while since I've uploaded anything here to Mixcloud, but I've got two topics that I'm gonna go over in this little podcast, even though hardly anybody views this stuff anyway, but who cares? But I'm gonna cover two things. I've got the 3 ideas that I got for video topics for my YouTube channel coming up, and the overall summary of Survivor Series that we just experienced this past Sunday night on pay-per-view. So I'll get to the segments first. Recently I've been contemplating putting together 3 brand new wrestling talk segments on my channel. Right now I got 4 segments that I do changing off every week or so. On Wednesdays I've got Versus, which is like comparing to certain things. It was going to be random stuff, but then it transitioned into just doing wrestling topics. Comparing two things, compare contrast type of thing, and people can decide on which they think was the better of the 2 topics in the video, or the worst, whatever is talked about in the video. Then you got a wrestling match review, which is WMR, just exactly what the topic says. You got TheDoubleZTV, which was my wrestling talk segment ever since my main channel, Zunuga's Man, from a couple years ago. Even though I don't always talk wrestling talk during that segment, I talk wrestling outside the TheDoubleZTV videos, but that's where it all got started. Might as well keep that name always going. And then DMD, Dream Match Discussion, those last 2 always happen on Fridays. Now lately I've been thinking about adding 3 new segments starting in 2014, and I chose the days and everything of when I would do them. The first idea I've got is a segment called Wrestling Career Analysis, obviously going over the career of a retired or deceased wrestler. So it could be over somebody like Owen Hart, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Mad Dog Vachon, who recently passed away, Paul Bearer, any of them. So like going over the highlights of somebody's career that has pretty much passed on or has nothing left to do in their career. Second idea I've got, and that would be on a Thursday. The other one that I would do for Thursday is called Booking, where I'd go over a match that never got to happen or was changed somehow. So like John Cena versus Randy Orton from No Mercy 2007, that never happened. I could talk about that. Or the original Money in the Bank ladder match for WrestleMania 24, if it included Jeff Hardy. I would look at those matches that were originally announced and give my thoughts on how I would have booked the match if it was exactly like that, if instead of getting canceled or changed in any way whatsoever, as long as it's a match that did not have spoilers unleashed for what the original plans were for the finish, for like who was going to win. So like Owen Hart Godfather from Over the Edge 1999, we're not talking about that because it was revealed Owen Hart was going to win, so there's no way to book that one. Or like Chris Benoit CM Punk from Vengeance Night of Champions, same thing. It was announced that Benoit was going to win the ECW title. So it would have to be a match that the outcome was not known. So it gives a little bit more of a creative idea to the mind. And then the third idea would be This Week in Wrestling, covering any events that happened in the history of that entire week that I do a video, which would be on Saturday. Excuse me, just been tired in the last few weeks. But like covering the history of any memorable events like pay-per-views, matches, stuff like that happened in the history of wrestling for like WWF/WWE, ECW, WCW, stuff in Japan, England, Mexico, for wrestling's sake. So those are 3 that I'm contemplating so far. The first 2 would be on Thursdays. The last one would be on Saturday. Still don't know if I'm gonna do them just yet. I know I at least want to do Booking, because that's also another one of the creative ideas that I put together and I had to think of at work. Now, to the main topic at hand, Survivor Series this year. Oh my lord. It's just impossible to describe this show. The build-up for the entire show was just lackluster. I mean, that's what happens when WWE forces 3 pay-per-views on us in less than 2 months. Around one moment, you got Night of Champions. Then before you know it, we got Battleground. Then out of the blue... oh, good lord. Excuse me. Can't stop being tired lately. Then out of the blue, you got Hell in a Cell, and then all of a sudden, we got Survivor Series. Now you got TLC coming up in a few weeks. So, I mean, WWE booking so many shows in a row makes it hard to build up a feud, and if you don't build something up properly, you can't expect a crowd to be emotionally or fully invested and excited for a match. I mean, if WWE's frustrated with crowds being dead, hey, maybe that means you got a storyline that you didn't book up properly or give people a reason to be invested in it. Maybe the people in there, in the feud or the match or whatever, aren't interesting enough to capture the fans' attention and imagination. But I mean, that was the kind of feel that it felt for a lot of these matches for Survivor Series. In the kickoff show, you had Miz beating Kofi Kingston, and right now it's impossible to tell what they're trying to do with the Miz. Is he supposed to be a face, a heel, a tweener? Because he turned heel the Monday night before Survivor Series on Kofi, offers a handshake after their match at Survivor Series pre-show and gets slapped by Kofi. Then he acts like a face at the Raw after Survivor Series during his Miz TV segment, but then acts like a bit of a heel again during his match against Kofi. So, what the frick are they doing with Miz? Then the highlight of the night, obviously, the first match of the night, The Shield and the Real Americans beating Cody Rhodes, Goldust, the Usos, and Rey Mysterio, with Roman Reigns eliminating 4 of the 5 competitors from the face team. Very, very impressive on Roman Reigns' part. Let's just see what WWE has planned for him, because from what I heard, there's supposed to be rumors of a big push coming up for him starting in 2014, so it looks like it's already getting started. But I mean, what's really going to happen for him? Whew, god dang. Can't stop yawning. Then Big E easily retains the title against Curtis Axel in a faster match than their Raw match. Which, it was alright. Didn't really care much for it. The Total Divas team beat the Team True Divas. Like, cha. But this match was just... That match was really kind of a bit lackluster as well, because you had elimination after elimination after elimination after elimination. You do one thing to somebody, they're eliminated. Didn't really make any of the Divas look stronger. I mean, I get it. They were kind of crunched on time, but doing something like that? Oh, excuse me. It's like, what the frick? That showed that they had, probably too many people put in there. Then Mark Henry easily squashing Ryback, thank God. John Cena beats Alberto Del Rio, and they honestly need to stop putting these two against each other in so many matches. I mean, they've had a lot of matches over the last couple of years, and the best they can get is in the 3-star range. It just doesn't really work for these two in the ring. You can't really expect a 5-star match between these two. And my grandfather clock won't stop going off in the background no matter what I do. We had a pretty strong tag team match with CM Punk and Daniel Bryan against the Wyatt family. And then just a god-awful WWE Championship match between Randy Orton and The Big Show that lasted 11 minutes. Really? I mean, this was just bad. I can only give it around a 1-star range rating. I mean, Big Show gets a title shot and being built up after all the emotional crap that's causing him to cry and having to do the authorities' bidding, getting fired, threatening a lawsuit, and then he's automatically #1 contender to the to the WWE title. That build-up was just horrible. You couldn't make people invested in believing that Big Show could win the title just because during the build-up, he chokeslammed Randy Orton through the table. You had to figure something screwy was going to happen with Randy Orton retaining the title, and had to be a distraction by Triple H and Stephanie towards the finish. Golly. But I mean, come on, that was just a horrible match. One of the worst main events and probably the worst WWE Championship match in Survivor Series history. I mean, golly. WWE better make up for this at TLC coming up. And speaking of TLC, I was going through the history. We all know that it's going to be Randy Orton versus John Cena at TLC for the WWE and World Heavyweight Championships. It's not clearly noted just yet, 100%, if it's a title unification or not. I mean, it could be a unification. It could just be somebody holding both titles saying that they're the WWE and World Heavyweight Champion. It could be just a way to get both men to trade the titles. I mean, one person could bring out the opposite title and the other person gets the other. So John Cena could walk out with the WWE title and Randy Orton with the World Heavyweight title. You never know. But I mean, now it's a TLC match, and according to my calculations, this is the 8th pay-per-view in 6 years that these two are competing against each other in one-on-one matches against. At SummerSlam 2007, John Cena retained the WWE Championship against Randy Orton. At Unforgiven 2007, Randy Orton beat John Cena in the title match via disqualification. They're supposed to face off in No Mercy, but unfortunately John Cena got injured 6 days prior. No Way Out 2008, John Cena cashed in his WWE, or his championship opportunity that he wanted for winning the Royal Rumble. Cashed in at No Way Out 2008, but Randy Orton intentionally got himself disqualified by hitting the referee, which was a bad move there. SummerSlam 2009, Randy Orton retained the title against John Cena. Breaking Point, John Cena wins the title in an I Quit match against Randy. Hell in a Cell, in a Hell in a Cell match, Randy Orton retains the title, or won the title from Cena. And then bragging rights, John Cena beats Randy Orton in the Iron Man match 7-6 to win the title, in what was labeled as the final confrontation, which was just as true as whatever labels they give to the AJ Styles Christopher Daniels feud. For the final time ever, this match will happen, and then it just keeps on happening afterwards. But I mean, now this is the 8th time. God, excuse me. This is the 8th time on pay-per-view that these two are going one-on-one against each other throughout the years. And every time, the WWE title has been on the line. And I mean, they've faced off again in regular matches. They've had Hell in a Cell, I Quit matches, Iron Man matches. They had a tables match on Raw after Raw Roulette. They're getting a TLC match. Honestly, let's just hope that they stop with these matches between these two, because we've seen all we can see between these two. And how much more can they really do? So, I mean, right, like, I don't expect a whole lot during the match. Hopefully they don't try to repeat any spots that Cena had in his TLC match against Edge, like an AA from the ladder through 2 tables. Because that just would not be best for business. But anyway, that's it for this little mini podcast. I got stuff to do. I got my live stream on my YouTube channel tonight at 8. That's going to be covering my Raw review for this week. Don't expect a good review for that. I got the Pipe Bomb Radio show to attend to at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. If you're on my YouTube channel, TheDoubleZTV, go to there, click the About section, and on my featured links, right below what my channel description is, you'll see a link saying Pipe Bomb Radio. And then you'll find the link there. Otherwise, if you want a direct link to the podcast that will happen that night, I will have it in the description of my live stream tonight at 8. If you look in the description, you'll get an exact link through Blog Talk Radio for the Saturday Night Slam podcast. So stay tuned for that. It's really going to be big, and we're going to be, from what Austin told me, we're going to be talking about the past Royal Rumble shows and possibly future ones, if I'm correct. So anyway, I'm out, folks. Thanks for watching. Peace.